What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Any Percent tournament of Super Mario Odyssey by Global Speedrun Association. Today I'm here with Small and One, the one and
Hey.
only, to commentate this race between Fur and Hedweg. It's going to be a pretty insane race as always. Also, the layout is still pretty sweet to look at. And yeah, Smallland, definitely huge name in the scene, has been supporting all new runners coming here. Pretty much everyone that has been playing any percent or started any percent new knows Smallland for his tutorials. He's been doing a great job when it comes to actually bringing knowledge to the casual person. Very good job on that, Smallland.
Oh,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
You even helped me, and you helped a lot of people actually. Great work. But let's get to the runners. Today we have Fur, the joy of the con himself. Recently has been doing a lot of practice, and I've seen him on 101 pace. I think just yesterday in Bowser's. Definitely improving fast again after the practice. Let's get to you first, Fur. What do you think about today's race? How do you
I
feel?
think I'll do all right.
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Have any kingdoms been like troublesome for you? Is there anything you're scared about in terms of the race?
Um, Not really. I mean, the wooded stuff is scary, and I feel like I've been having some trouble with the luncheon recently too. So hopefully that goes well.
All right. Hedwig, I think you haven't been doing that much any percent recently, as far as I know. But
Yeah,
how do you
correct.
feel about today's matchup?
I've been practicing in the dark a little bit lately.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sadly, haven't really met my PB like lately, like not even close actually. But hey, I try to do my best. I see kind of small chances of winning today, but hey, there's
Yeah.
always a little bit of luck and
And I
like
don't know how much you've been
yeah.
keeping up on like the new wooded stuff. If you want to do the fastest strats currently in any percent, they come with huge risks, and everything is possible in a race like this. That's what I can say to you. So as long as you focus on doing good yourself, you definitely will have a good chance. But yeah, I think we got a good insight from the runners here. So I think we can get this on our way. Good luck to you boys, by the way.
Thanks.
Hope you have a great race. All right. So, Smallland, what do you think about today's matchup?
I'm not sure. Well, you said like Fur, he's been doing really good lately. He's gotten, I think he got a PB earlier today actually, which is incredible. He's moving up on the leaderboard. He's probably, I think, fourth now. I'm not exactly sure, but he's really far up there.
Wait,
So
did he PB today?
I believe it was today or yesterday. It was really recently. So
Yeah, he definitely PB'd very recently. The thing with Furs, he always used to be very up there, like in terms of top 5 player. I think he used to be third even at one point. But then he took a very long break, quote unquote, to focus fully on practice, which is what he does with what he did for like the last 2 months. But now I think he's going all in on runs again. So definitely going to be seeing big PBs, I think.
mhm. And Hedwig, he said he's been doing some practice in the dark, but he's also been doing a lot of stuff like just with sort of weekly tasks and stuff. He's been really busy on that. So it's not like he's not been playing Super Mario Odyssey a lot. He's been really busy with that.
Yep. Definitely, you don't really forget how to play this game. With any percent, it's like obviously a lot of stuff gets added all the time. Thinking about wooded, thinking about okay, we might get into the lake optimization once we are there. I do want to make you guys aware of the screen caps we are doing here in this race to make sure the gameplay is definitely happening live. In this case, it's a randomizer. We have a big pool of moons. In this case, all of them actually got randomized to be lake captures, but they will be they will hopefully be aware of those captures and take screenshots during the moon cutscenes. We will see a little message on the top left corner, so we can assure the gameplay is actually live. They were randomized immediately before the race. But yeah, Cap Kingdom, Smallin is probably the person to talk to. Shoutouts probably from Smallin to Hedwig right there for doing the spin pound after the cutscene.
That's actually pretty cool. I wonder if he saw that from me the other day. But yeah, minor optimizations that have been found here is you can go into first-person mode to kind of skip the little bridge spawning cutscene. It looks like Fur did that there, and Hedwig just doing the old strat, rolling, playing it safe, because you can mess up the first person mode there pretty easily. So playing it safe from Hedwig.
Exactly. The thing is being actually optimal with the first person thing. You want to roll cancel as soon as possible so that the bridge animation is about to start, and then also you want to be close to the end of the bridge when you do the first person. There's a lot of things that go into cap. We know how optimized the kingdom actually is at the moment.
And Fur going for left side here. One of the harder tricks in the run right at the start. He does bonk, so that gives Hedwig some time to catch up. Probably lost time over Hedwig here. We'll see. Oh, but Hedwig bonks too.
Also getting a bonk, unfortunately, but it goes to show left side is a trick that saves around 2.5 to 3 seconds if done super optimally. But at the other side, if you bonk once, it's super easy to lose like 5 seconds. If you just miss it, you're probably losing the time save left side offers you, but if you bonk, you additionally lose 2 seconds. So, and then you also fall, so it's a huge punish. But both having some issues in the cap tower, not a big deal. Heading into Cascade, where we will see a pretty big quote-unquote difference. Smoland, explain first moon skip to me once again. We have been talking about it, but it's definitely interesting when we have differences going on.
So we'll probably see Fur here go and skip the first moon by doing a big vault over this rock that we're going to be seeing here after the cutscene. And basically, you have to skip it by jumping over a huge invisible wall, which is why he needs to jump really high. And it's actually pretty precise. The surfaces on the rock can be sometimes a little bit unforgiving, so we'll see if Fur gets it on the first try. And Hedwig, since he's on, I think, a newer version, that has been patched out, so Hedwig's got to be going and actually getting that first moon, but Fur gets it first try nice and easy, and Hedwig's collecting that moon.
Gets it first try. I really liked his camera there. I don't see many people do that, but he was really paying attention that his camera was all the time behind him, so he had a really easy time lining up the actual throw. And what he did there, crazy optimization. I said it to Smoland before the race, but you can actually roll and then do like a crazy spin throw roll cancel to be optimal there. Definitely something that you can only really do on Joy-Cons. Also those down throws. Fur definitely showing controller differences too, because there's version differences in this game. But there's also controller differences. You can play on the Pro-Con, and what Fur does there to capture the chain jump is actually a down throw, which is not possible to do on the Pro controller at the moment. Many people like playing on Pro-Con because it's more comfortable, but Fur showing why Joy-Cons actually are straight up faster to play with. They're just a bit uncomfortable.
Hedwig missing Dino Skip on the first try, but it looks like he does a quick loop around and gets it on the second try there, so it's good for him. And now Fur does look a decent amount ahead, but keep in mind that he does have to collect that one extra moon because he did skip the first one. So that's a little bit of time that Hedwig will be able to get back here.
Exactly, you don't get the moon gifted, you just skip it, hence the name, first moon skip. So he's gonna pick up an additional moon in a chest that actually just, the area where the chest is hidden just opened after you beat the boss, because when you beat bosses in this game or progress into the story, the state of the kingdom actually changes. So the moon that Fur is about to collect wouldn't have been there actually before he even fought the boss. And he's gonna be heading to this chest in the alcove right here, and he's probably gonna try to do what we call the moon clip here. I think he gets it fairly nicely. Pretty precise cap throw timing to actually clip through that ceiling, and that looks very nice. Very nice cascade. Actually, really good cascade from Fur.
Yeah, I didn't really see many mistakes in there, if any at all. That was very perfect. It's hard to race against for Hedwig for sure.
We will see the flat up time set that comes from FMS2. Obviously, it comes into play here, especially if you get it first try. But this is the very start of the run. And First been talking about he's going to go for all the hard strats, and they come with huge risks. So he's definitely going to need to play on top of his game to actually close a run like this out. But this cascade was, I don't know what his splits are, but actually I haven't seen one mistake. He got the single jump, he got the crazy chain jump fight. Might have been a gold from him there. But Hedwig also hitting the globe and leaving Cascade to head to Sand Kingdom, where we will be seeing another version difference in Sand. Smoland, what's the big deal in Sand Kingdom?
Well, since Hedwig's on a newer version, there's been a trick patched out on that one as well called Sphinx Clip, where you can basically clip into the wall on the Sphinx's back, probably 2/3 of the way into Sand Kingdom here, and it saves a few seconds, and we'll see Fur probably go for that. And that's a difficult trick that's easy to mess up, so might lose some time there over Hedwig, but we'll see. And Hedwig, since he's on an older version, we'll probably just see him take a different route. There's a lot of different options for Sand Kingdom based on however good you are with your skill level, so will be interesting to see what Hedwig goes for with his route.
So I personally like, from 1.2 players, at least in races, I like to see them just head into the Sphinx room and be safe about their coin count. Because usually you need 200 coins over the entire run to buy 2 moons, which 2 shop moons actually are fast enough for us to get in the any percent route. And the first one is coming up at Wooded. And if you decide to skip the Sphinx room entirely, which is an optional 1.2, actually the fastest option, you need to look very precisely at the coins you're getting, because you might be short of coins heading into Wooded. But I think Hedwig, at least for now, did a great job to get a lot of coins. So he might be able to just get the bird early here and skip the Sphinx room. We'll see what he's about to do.
Looks like he is going for the bird early, waiting for it there. So may skip the Sphinx room, or may just be doing his normal route, but choosing to do the Sphinx room later.
For going for a Dram strat, the legendary cap home strat where you throw up. Oh, and he's actually going for nodes route, which is one of the most recent optimizations that we have been looking into. If you play optimal and get the nodes moon at the end and then skip the warp and just roll to the Odyssey, you can save up to 2 seconds with optimal play. So we'll see how good his nodes go this run. But yeah, Fur definitely on a very good run so far.
Very solid. Really, the only mistake that he's made is messing up that left side in Cap Kingdom.
Yep. So far. Let's see what clip version he decides to go for, because there's actually 2 ways to do the Sphinx clip, one of them being the double clip, and I assume he would be going for double clip when he takes the nodes route, but right now he's struggling to get a clip at all, and maybe he decided on the go. Yeah, maybe he actually decided on the go because he had issues with clipping, so maybe single clip is the safe option for races, definitely.
I believe in runs that he's been doing recently, he has been doing single clip, so it was something to expect there.
It is very punishing to go for double clip, because not only do you have to clip twice, it also makes it way harder and more punishing for you to make a mistake, because you will be missing the bird, which on the fastest route we time our movement in a way that we can get the bird perfectly fine in the oasis. But if you do double clip and make a mistake, it's very easy to miss the bird. And then you need, and actually for Fur that would mean that he would have a huge problem, because he actually decided to do the nodes already and skip the Crate Moon. So he would probably need to do something like employees only or something, which is a terribly slow moon.
It has a potential for a really large time loss if that would happen. You can see Hedwig here, see if he talks to the Sphinx or just goes right by. It'll be interesting to see.
Very clean spin point there. Looks like he's going to be skipping.
Yeah, he is skipping the Sphinx. All right.
It does make sense, and this is the fastest route available to him. He's still, actually now looking at it, 44 coins. He's definitely going to be able to pick up 50 from the chest. But how can he get those? I mean, in Lake, probably, right? You can fight Rango and get some coins from the Rango boss fight in Lake, because you will need those 100 coins in Wooded. Otherwise, you can't buy the fast shop moon there.
The Zipper Moon, while going to the Zipper Moon in Lake Kingdom, you are able to pick up some extra coins. I think there's 30 there, so he should be good as long as he remembers to pick those up.
That's definitely true. And yeah, first showing a very fast strat for nodes. You can save a little time there if you do some crazy roll over the leaf strat, but that's pretty much the go-to strat, which allows you to save a bit of time consistently over breaking the crate, which the crate is a fast moon. It's immediately next to you when you do Dram, but it has insanely long cutscenes with it. And it also makes it so that the bullet bill route is a bit less optimal, and if you want to be faster, you need to do the Dram strat, which is a very hard strat. So if you are decent at nodes, something you might be interested in, this route that Furthest did.
So Fur leaving the kingdom, Hedwig finishing it off. He's got the 3 moons left, so Hedwig probably going for this moon. Then there's the moon that has the birds standing on it, little birds, and then he will be going for notes as well because he already got the big bird in town.
Exactly. And since he didn't even talk to Sphinx, the bird cycle is completely different, so he wouldn't even be there at all. Instead, he's just going to get the notes and go to the Odyssey. Not too far behind at all, actually, for first pretty crazy run so far. We do want to pay attention at Lake Kingdom now, since we do have the live screen captures here. Let's see if the runners remember them. It is a very in my opinion, a very nice time to take the screen caps during the fish movement here. It's pretty much all in the cheap where they need to get the screen caps, so nothing to deal with at all other than actually remembering to do it.
Mm-hmm. First moon, nice and clean, and going for the zipper now. And this is a zipper that Hedweg will need to grab the coins from. You'll see that there's the one coin there that spawns a big line of them, and Hedweg is going to need to do that there.
So first camera, I'm not sure if you paid attention to it, but it looks very interesting. It looks nothing like I usually see people do it. They usually have like the up top camera perspective, and Fur takes his first capture there, so he's definitely aware of them. If you watch runners, I think most of them have the camera slightly angled up top, but it looks for Fur, it looks like he's always having it behind Mario, which is interesting, an interesting approach, getting the second capture too.
Hedweg moving on to Lake Kingdom now too. His Fur is probably almost half done, but it's Short Kingdom.
Getting all of the 3 screenshots in a row, so definitely prepared for this one. We can definitely say he's live currently. Let's see if Hedweg also remembers to take all of the 3 screen captures. Also, we do see the Rango fight here spawning quite a few coins for Hedweg to potentially pick up, because he does need them. He needs 6 coins before he leaves here.
And we'll see if... I guess Hedweg does have the 94 coins, so he may not even need to pick up this line. And he doesn't, yeah, he'll just grab some in the Rango fight, it looks like.
I hope he's aware of it though. I mean, getting 6 coins in Rango fight should be fairly easy, but I don't like picking up coins in Rango fight. It's not as easy as in Speedrun fight, because the timing in Rango is quite a bit more precise.
Absolutely.
Getting the screen captures in here. And while he does that and first leaving the kingdom, I do want to quickly touch on something. I don't know if you have seen it, but we've actually looked into Lake, which is always like this relaxed, straightforward kingdom. I think the route hasn't changed in like since day 3. But we did find a new clip that actually makes it possible to grab a checkpoint that is very close to a very fast moon. So in the future, we might see runners, once we actually get consistent at the clip, to skip the boss fight here, which is going to be around maybe 3 to 5 seconds fast, depending on how good we get at the clip.
Which is actually a pretty significant time save, considering the length of the kingdom.
Especially these days.
Yeah, these days it's mostly 1 or 2 second little optimizations, but 5 seconds and a big reroute. It's not something that was probably expected.
Hedweg needs 1 coin. I hope he's aware of it.
He does get
it. Nice.
Does get enough coins. Awesome.
But yeah, all of them, they're getting the captures right there. Once again, this is randomized, so they wouldn't have had the chance to prepare for this. It was just that we got the captures out of the way, which is also nice for the runners, so they can fully focus on the run now, which is definitely an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But for heading into the probably scariest part, at least for races right now, at least for top runners too, because it comes with huge potential punishes. We'll see how it goes for him.
Yeah, making a mistake at the wrong time here, you can lose if you fall into deep woods. You can lose a few minutes. So some really scary moments coming up here if he does get this clip.
Exactly. Yeah, the clip has pretty much been very magical. We kind of had a routing renaissance going on. I've been talking about that the lake round hasn't been really changed at all. But we've been looking way more into the game now with crazy opportunities like the early lunch route and stuff. And this one was the biggest one so far. At first, we were starting to clip through a rock, similar to the Sphinx clip. But what we do now, and we might see Fur hopefully getting it here, that looks good. Timing the moon clip that we saw in Cascade on this wall to use that nut moon to clip through the wall, get to this section all at once, grab the moon. Fur very fast here, definitely doing that very well so far. And hopefully gets out on the other side.
Oh no! Is that deep woods? Oh, he saves it.
Yet.
That was... Oh my goodness.
So I don't know what he can do now, because he actually got the tank moon, so he only is 1 moon short. I actually have no idea what he's about to do. I actually literally have no idea.
Yes, in a regular run, you'd probably just reset here, so this is going to be some interesting routing changes. He might just go for the old route, and yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen.
Yeah, because he does have 1 extra moon at the moment. He might actually... No. Maybe he skips the nut, like the nut on the dead end, because he definitely needs to get the piranha to fight Speedrun. Maybe he actually skips the Piranha, but does the Speward skip route.
Yeah, I
I have
guess
no idea.
the best one to skip would be one of the two nuts that are going to be coming up. Either the one in the maze, the one around the corner, or the one up top right after flower skip.
I have been talking about this. We haven't actually seen someone make a mistake there, and actually Fur got lucky there because Smallland was already saying it. There is a possibility to land into the deep woods, which probably comes with an immediate time loss of like a minute. Because you can't warp out there, you need to do like a specific task to actually leave the kingdom. I guess the sub
area,
kingdom or something, sub area of the kingdom.
Yeah, and like with that, the backside of that wall, some of the spots actually have collision, so he really did have the potential to fall in there, even though he did slip right through the wall. Some of the sections do have collision.
So first, skipping the nut on the dead end, which is a moon that is fairly fast, but it actually has a lot of backtracking with it. So that's probably the smartest choice right there. He's not even going to take that much of a hit. He can't even come close to what it currently looks like in terms of time for like perfect execution, but it's not a big deal. He's also one thing I really like, actually, if you do the new wooded route and take a death in this section, you definitely want to pick up the Piranha or the checkpoint, because if you die, you spawn at the shop, which is like at the start of the kingdom, very punishing time loss too.
Yeah, it's huge time loss there, but let's see. For a few moons ahead now, still got a pretty good lead. Hedweg just consistently moving along. Doesn't seem like Hedweg's making many mistakes though. Anything really consequential. So might have made up a little bit of time in this wooded kingdom. We'll see.
So Hedweg and for actually this run also showing why a lot of runners actually like the new wooded route so much. It does come with many risks and it does come with many awkward movement techniques. But at the same time, the climb section that Hedweg just did there is absolutely awful to deal with. Even if you play it optimal, it still feels slow and it still feels very uncomfortable to do, in my opinion. And a lot of runners actually have huge problems with it. So when you actually can add the new wooded route and get consistent at the clip, it is a very nice time save you can get for yourself.
And even with that climb too, during it, you have to tilt the camera upwards to be able to spawn one of those uproots a little bit earlier, so it makes the climb even harder on the way up. Hedweg scaring us a little bit there.
Yeah, 30 feet at the boss here, so he's gonna be leaving the kingdom after the multi-moon grab. Multi-moons being the triple moon there. The optimal route right there, which Fur actually couldn't even do because he didn't get the fence moon on top, which is the last moon you get on the new route. The fastest route actually doesn't fight this boss anymore. It gets different moons, which are only really fast because the cutscene that Fur is in right now is so slow. But Hedweg actually doing a nice job skipping the flower road there.
Yeah, really nice flower skip from Hedweg. Yeah, Fur moving on to the boss fight, and Hedweg getting the last 5 moons, climbing the tower up to Spewart here.
Oh, his cap got stuck there. And yeah, uproots, by the way, these are these little onion boys. They are quite weird, actually. Especially this part of the run, you can kind of abuse a mechanic they have going for them. When they fall down from extending their legs, and you are like on a slope, you can actually get a little boost, which is optimal, but very awkward to learn at the start. I think they are still not researched enough. Maybe we can do something crazy with them. They are quite a bit weird.
Yeah, the way the boosts work with uproots is basically if they're ever in the air and you extend the legs and do the sort of pop, when you land, you'll actually be going pretty fast, faster than you normally would. So
there's no way for... What a player, dude. Actually going for cloud boost, not getting the cloud boost, which is like a crazy strat that is super risky. You can easily die there. But he still was playing that very fast because he basically came from underneath the cloud and activated it, so he kept his momentum. It's probably still faster than what everybody does, really.
Very impressive.
But I think that's Fur now. He actually went into all the kingdoms, added everything he felt like. And that's a crazy strat that optimally... I don't do it at all, but on a bad run, I recently did it and golded this kingdom by a second, which is a number, especially in this kingdom, that it's unheard of, because most of the people optimize it so much. There's like manipulation you can do with Bowser, but this movement alone can be huge if you actually get it.
Yeah, this kingdom you don't gold. You get a good kingdom once, and then it stays like that for the rest of for the rest of the time that you run. Basically, you really don't gold or Cloud Kingdom.
Unless you actually add those crazy,
Of course, yeah.
crazy bumps. And this is pretty much what this game comes down to these days, right? Like, at least on top level, what the things we do for like 0.5 time save are pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, this game is a little unique in that way, where basically you can be good and get a good time, but to get something slightly better than a good time, you have to be really good. Like, it's a lot of really small time saves that are really hard, is what this game is coming down to.
Did you see what what Fur just did there? Like, that also, the butterfly grab was also amazing, but he unintentionally grabbed at the start of the kingdom, he unintentionally grabbed the tree, and then he jumped from the tree in a different direction and did a dive vault to make the meme tree jump. That was actually completely insane.
Yeah, that was just like, there's no setup. Like, he messed up the setup basically for it, but he still got it by just being good.
Yeah,
Really
like by
impressive
an unheard of way. Like, that's something you don't see. That's what I usually keep track of all the fast strats because I'm using the best possible time sheet is something that I keep track of, and I've never seen someone do that backup. Pretty insane.
We'll see Hedweg here, see if he gets all the fast strats for the Bowser fight. Looks like he's on the last phase. He does get the last hat, which is probably one of the harder ones of the hardest, I think, of the first Bowser fight. So gets all of them and doesn't really lose much time. I think Hedweg's probably on a pretty good pace compared to his PB right now. I would say he's ahead right now.
Like, he's probably like, I don't know what the exact numbers are, but unfortunately after a very good loss with the backup bonking there at the end. But Hedweg definitely he has to be on a good run. I haven't seen too many mistakes from him. And you gotta realize that he already comes with like a time disadvantage because he's on the newest version, which is obviously personal choice, but doing his own own strat there for the meme tree, which this is probably a less punishing one because you can actually have time to set up the triple. If you go for the cap return jump strat or the roll, like the dive vault strat, you are pretty much committed. Like, if you mess them up, you probably don't get the jump or fall into the poison.
Yeah, absolutely. Fur here, if he'll probably go for the spin pound right at the start, because there's you can do the huge railing jump across, but there's actually a faster strat where you just spin pound up this ramp here, as Fur is doing, and it actually is faster than the huge jump.
Predicting Fur like a book right there from Smallhead, and yeah, this is actually in fact the fastest strat, but Fur not getting the triple jump of the railing on the right side, so he probably just ties or maybe even loses sometime versus the long gap jump. The long gap jump does seem like the more straightforward way. The problem with this, with it, is that you spend so much time of it in the air, and once you're in the air, there's not many ways to actually gain speed other than using the vector mechanic, which is like a game inbuilt mechanic to gain some air control. But yeah, spend a lot of time in the air, so you can't really speed it up. The other strat you can speed up with a lot of rolls. Wow, those rolls are pretty cool from Fur.
Seems very in control. We'll see here Hedweg going for the Stone Cage Moon. It's not one that's seen very often, but it's just playing it safe, it seems like, and moving along, not making any big plays, but no big mistakes, so it's paying off for him, it seems like.
I gotta say, Hedwig is playing very, very well for his PB. Like, the strats that he's doing and the execution, I personally go for this Stone Cage as well. It doesn't lose much time if you actually play it fine, and he definitely played it fine. He was rolling out of the Stone Cage deck, keeping his momentum. Playing very well, in my opinion, at the moment.
And I think we just might have missed something there on Fur's side. It looks like he did the crazy jump across for the building jump.
That. He does that.
It's very, very close.
You barely make that, even if you play it perfect, quote unquote, but you barely make that. That just makes it so that you don't have to backflip or cap dive on the higher platform. And already that jump already gives a lot of new players a lot of trouble because the camera really messes hard with you there. So definitely pretty good stuff from pretty crazy optimizations that he's using.
Going for all of the really difficult and risky strats in this one for sure. He He wasn't lying when he said he was going for it.
Definitely. So hedweg actually doing his own kind of optimization to go for the right side, which is barely probably slower than just doing the triple jump. It adds an additional cap throw and a dive, which is a bit slower, but definitely not losing much time at all there and having a pretty good start so far for the Night Metro.
Fur getting that 2-cycle nice and easy, so he's finished off with Night Metro here. We'll see if he does. He'll be doing the new
Yeah, for sure.
early musicians route. Maybe he'll go for bullet building if he's going for all the hard strats. We'll see. That'll be exciting if he does.
He actually, I know that he looked into it, but I'm very sure that he's not going to do it in a race at least. Like maybe he's adding it. It would be crazy to show that off like in a race here. Which is like a small route change. It's actually quite a big route change. Adds an entirely new subroom and a completely new way of getting one of the moves you already get. Saves a little time, like probably if you do it optimally, maybe 2 to 3 seconds, but not seen at all by anyone, not by the world record holders and by the best runners. Nobody does it so far because it's incredibly hard to be optimal on that route.
It's so difficult.
But I know Fur has actually, he looked at it, but I'm fairly sure he's just going to add another recent optimization where we get the musicians a little bit earlier. We used to get them fairly late, and Fur's really playing incredible. That's good clip as well, not showing many flaws today.
Very nice drive by, real clean. Probably going to get this warp here. Little bit of a dram there.
Yep, and we might see something that is not really paid attention to. Actually, didn't see it there. Something that I might be able to tell for. There's a small camera strat that you can do on the bench there. That saves like 0.5 seconds, which is a lot for not doing anything other than pulling your camera stick down. But it is a bit weird because you need to wait for Mario to sit down. But when you are in the top level currently in this game, you want to take as many free time saves as you can get because you see what kind of strats Fur needs to go for to actually beat his time. Wow, Fur.
So clean on the way out. Wow. And that kind of a blind long jump. Just really impressive. Let's see, hedweg here. He's actually going for the 2-cycle here right now on the Wiggler. We'll see if he gets that, as Fur did as well.
I'm blown away by Fur today. It's actually, let's see at first. This looks like an easy 2-cycle for hedweg. Nice. The Wiggler stopped in a perfect spot there for him. But what Fur did there is the most optimal strat again. When leaving the girder, you can only shake once there and roll across. The taxi was almost messing with him, but he reacts to those happenings so well, and he makes really the best out of them. Crazy stuff we are seeing from him here so far.
Hedweg finishing off that boss fight there and moving into Day Metro here. Fur gets the second early musician.
So technically, it is possible for hedweg to do the scoot clip here. I don't know if he usually does it. It's a trick that only really if you get this drive-by strat where you just drive by the cage and immediately clip into the cage to get the moon, then you can maybe save 5 seconds or 4 seconds with it. But it might, for some players, it might be just a better idea to use the actual way of getting the moon, which is the RC car. You can add some pretty cool movement to the RC car too, and barely lose time.
Let's see what he goes for here. He looks like he is going for the scooter, so he... Oh, no. He went around.
Baited.
Yeah,
but yeah,
on the right side.
He gets it optimally. Like, that's probably the best way to drive with the RC car. Let's see what movement he does. Wait, is that actually possible? Wait, that's so cool. I've never seen that.
The taxi, yeah. If you miss the first dram at the start there, then the taxi's just in the perfect position to get that taxi jump.
Usually what I see people do, you can do like a triple jump on top of the cage, but that was pretty cool. Haven't seen that one. And yeah, Fur, flawless Metro, literally, at least as far as the Day Metro goes so far. The taxi messed with him once. Okay, he does get a little blocked by the people there. But I do want to make a small comparison versus his PB actually, when he also unfortunately taking that bonk. But I do want to make a comparison versus his PB because I'm pretty sure he might still be on very solid pace.
Yeah, really, there was one minor mistake that I saw. Other than that, it was just missing the spin pound on the top of the tower, but that's like 0.8 seconds lost. So it's
Yep.
it's incredible how good Fur's run is going right now. There's so little going wrong. Really, the biggest mistake is just that that wooded issue in wooded, but I'm not sure how consequential that is in the whole scheme of things.
So he is actually more behind than I thought, like compared to his PB. We are looking at like 30 seconds, a bit more at the moment, which is still insane because first time is a 102.20, which is currently 7th place and very up there, close to top 5. So very insane performance. And yeah, Hedweg, I said that in his practice earlier, goes for the ground pound roll there, which is pretty optimal.
That actually saves almost a second over just the a regular cap jump.
It is a pretty good strat to see how slow cap throws and dives and the cap bounces itself actually can be. If you just get the ground pound roll there, you immediately shoot towards the moon, and yeah, that actually saves almost a second.
And Fur and Snow Kingdom here with probably the hardest trick in the entire run going to come up at the end of the kingdom. It's going to be, if he messes it up, it's like a 30-second time loss or so, because you warp and go back up.
There's been different numbers thrown around from 20 to 30. I actually never really timed how consequential it is. I've actually also seen a strat where you can dive towards the ice wall and warp earlier to diminish your returns, like diminish your damage you're taking from losing that trick.
Yep.
The really bad thing about Snowdome is once you commit to do it, there's no way out. Because you are completely away from every moon, so you need to basically do it until you get it.
So if you mess up once or twice, it's just basically you mess it up once, you're kind of in that mindset you have to get it after that, so or you're going to be getting hemorrhaging a lot of time.
Exactly. So there's another optimization that I'm pretty sure Fur is not going to do actually at this moon. You can use the moon clip mechanic there once again, which is barely used. We actually, when we found moon clipping, we thought it was like the biggest deal, but there's not that many places where it actually could come in handy. There's really, right now, the game is very optimized already, and we haven't even hit a year right now. But even if we imagine we could just literally go through walls, there's not many places where that would actually save time. Another thing is this early luncheon route, but let's not get into this too much yet. Very optimal strat there from Fur again, leaving one Spiny alive, spin throwing it down to have a small camera time save. But yeah, you can actually use that moon on top to clip through the wall and access that sub-room like 1 second earlier, but pretty much unseen in any percent.
You see Hedweg here moving to Snow Kingdom as well, finishing off with Metro. Really seemed like a clean Metro from him too. Both of these runners on very good runs.
So one thing that I'm not sure of is, did Hedweg get the hint art in the pool? Because there's actually, on the newest version, you can ground pound in the pool to get 200 coins from like a little Luigi pixel art. But I think he was very close on coins, and he does remember, so he actually chooses to go Seaside first. Wow, the Goomba is actually for working on top of the Switch for him. He was about to recapture. But yeah, we will see a little difference here. Hedweg is heading into Seaside first because there's a lot of coins in the route, so he can buy the shop moons now.
Yeah, I forgot about that actually. That he didn't get the Sphinx room, so he's a little short on coins. So he's getting the extra, I believe, 40 coins that are in Seaside in the tunnel.
Let's look at his coin count. Oh, he is actually only at 47.
Okay, so we might have to not only pick up all the coins in Seaside, but also the coins that are kind of on the way in Snow Kingdom, most likely.
Yep. You can either, there's like a coin stash, I think, hidden in a small package thingy coming up into the kingdom, which has like 10 coins. So if he knows the position of that, he'll be fine. And also, if you go through the sub-rooms first, you can get the coins, but we'll see what he does. But yeah, Fur coming up on Snowdram. A strat that literally has nothing to do with the Dram strat in Sand. Pretty much just a meme that Shaden decided to use when he was messing with a setup there. We see the setup here from Fur, lining up Cappy in a specific spot.
Seems like he gets a lot of room afterwards. That was so close to perfect. Like,
yeah. Usually the jump barely gets you on the other side, but he actually had some extra space right there, so he definitely had to play that very well.
Very good from him.
And it might be a bit confusing right now if you haven't seen much any percent, but Fur actually is about to head into Seaside right now, so it looks like he might be a bit behind. But Hedwig still has to go through the entirety of Snow after he's done with this. But yeah, very good Snow from Fur. Once again, looking back at it, can't really think of many mistakes. He did have a little issue with the Goomba stack in the Goomba room because they didn't want to really activate the switch, but then that's pretty much it.
Hedwig here, and I think Hedwig might be on PB pace right now based on looking at his PB. He has a 38.15 for Seaside, so we'll see if he clears the kingdom before that. Hedwig might get a PB here. That's exciting for him.
15. So like he went Seaside first in his PB, right?
Yes.
Okay, 38.15. I think he can be ahead, yeah. Like, I think from Dory, it's usually like a minute to end Seaside. Even from this moon, I can't quite tell. And that's actually interesting. Attacking the sea kelp there to get some additional coins. Don't know if he does that here during those sea kelps, or if he just picks up the additional 10 coins in Snow. I think he can just get the additional 10 coins in Snow now, but actually decides to farm some coins from the enemies here, which also works.
Right on the way. And there are some coin rings in here that he can grab, so he'll probably grab 1 or 2 of those on the way. We'll see. Sees them. Yep. Grabs the coin rings, and now he has enough. So it's good to go for Snow Kingdom. And we'll see Fur here, probably going for this Rocket Flower refresh, I would guess.
Definitely, I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Oh.
Not messing around at all. Let's see for which version he goes. So he's jumping, which is always almost scary, but I think he's going to use the ground pound version of it. So he ground pounds before he grabs the moon. The rocket flower is going to be stored in Cappy, and now he can just use it again to run across, skipping the entire Gushen that you need to capture, which is actually slower too. Optimally, he does another spin throw here into a fast swim to capture the Cheep Cheep, and he does it, dude. Definitely
So
playing
clean.
very optimal.
Wow. That's actually the first time I've seen that in a run. I haven't watched a full any percent run in a while. I've known it's a thing, but I've never actually seen it in action. So that's really cool to see.
Well, I tried it in my last PB and I failed it. But that just goes to show that this strat isn't free at all. You need to ground pound at the specific timings. You need to actually get the spin throw, which is a motion control input that you can easily mess up. And if you do it, you lose the rocket flower and you can't even complete the nodes task. So the moon won't spawn. Definitely way bigger issue than just playing it safe on nodes. But it does come with a little time. So, and for actually taking damage twice on the same enemy.
That's no fair.
I think we haven't talked about yet what actually happens when you take damage smaller, because that's not free. You pay for it, right?
Yeah, every time you take damage, the next time you pick up a moon, it'll actually take an extra second or 2 to fill up your health meter. So anytime you take damage, you do lose a little bit of time every single time.
Depending on how much damage you actually took, it takes a bit longer. But taking damage twice is literally straight up 4-second time loss of just that was really unfortunate. He took damage once and he couldn't even react. Once he was done with the moon cutscene, he took damage again.
But Fur done with Seaside already, as now Hedwig makes his way over to Snow Kingdom. Having a hard time with that corner moon.
Yeah, it's kind of, there's different strats you can choose to get this moon. All of them are a bit weird. One is actually triple jumping on top of the crates, and one is just wall jumping, bonking into the wall. But this moon is a bit tricky. And Hedwig is going to choose to do the snow drum less route, which is a little slower, but definitely safer.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you are not committed to get the trick done. You just get the moons and leave.
And Fur, at the beginning, when we were talking to him, he said he was a little bit nervous for luncheon. So we'll see if the nerves affect him in any way, or if it's really clean. And here it goes.
Starting up with one of the harder jumps in the entire game, actually, which is a bit underrated. It only saves like half a second, but you actually need to do everything right to get on top of that structure. And structures pretty much is what makes Luncheon so hard. All of the structures here, even those walls that he's probably about to skip with a dive, Yep. But all of those walls, and especially the blue rock thingies, have such a weird geometry going for them. You can jump on them and Mario will behave very weird in some cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some strange interactions that can happen in Luncheon Kingdom for sure. But Fur doing a rematch with Spewart. If everything had gone well in Wooded Kingdom, this would be the first time we see Spewart actually, but
That's true.
unfortunately he has to fight him a second time here. Hedwig just cleaning up the spinies in Snow Kingdom. Only got 3 moons remain, I believe, after this one.
Little spoiler, we will be seeing Spewart again actually, but he's not gonna look like he looked before.
Well, that is true. That is true.
There will be a little additional rematch with him. But for now, he's gone. So first, good to go through Luncheon, which is, other than the geometry, also in terms of the movement, one of the hardest kingdoms. I would say these days, especially with the hardest Wooded optimization, Wooded might be harder, but Luncheon still incredibly hard to be fast in.
Very technical. A lot of precise jumps in this one for sure. Let's see if
Being in Goomba room right now, collecting those 2 moons from here, and then he's gonna go into an additional sub-room that we haven't seen yet on first screen, which has a secret moon. That room is actually a room where we are supposed to refight Rango in, which is the boss we fought in Lake previously, but you don't have to fight him to actually leave. So all you do is get the secret moon out of the room and leave.
Fur almost missing that turnip there, but he does correct Mario's angle just at the last moment to be able to throw it in the pot.
Well, one thing I completely forgot actually, when I was considering first run, is that the Wooded happened. Because if he actually got the new route entirely, but if we remember, he actually fell down there. Wow, he actually already captured the Podoboo. He's just gonna zip to it immediately, very clean. But without this Wooded, this would be like a crazy run, but completely forgot that he actually had this small flaw there in Wooded Kingdom.
With a good Wooded route, this would be definitely a 101 pace run for sure.
For sure.
First, showing us the dives to the forks, which actually save a little bit of time on Mario's animation where it pulls him into it. Because that animation it's surprisingly slow. Doesn't seem like it, but you can lose a lot of time if you let that animation play out. And
in my opinion, it is the coolest animation in the game. Also, maybe is my favorite FX in terms of sound. Like this, I can't even obviously do it, but you know what I mean. The capture sound is very satisfying in my opinion, especially when you do it on like a dram strat. But it is slower than it sounds and looks like. So that's the strat that we recently came up with to save some time there. And we're about to head into Turnip, which is another version exclusive trick. What? I don't know if that is actually going to work.
We'll see. It's going to be very close, but he gets it nice.
Oh, disgusting. What a throw.
Wow, that was a really difficult turnip position because you have to clip in on the left side of that little box there, and the turnip was almost on the right side, so he kind of had to position that Panbro in just a way that it's still in between the turnip and the glass, but still on the left side. So it was really, really tight, but he made it look real smooth.
Trick found by Minyash and Circle, pretty much the heroes of our community when it comes to strat hunting and glitch hunting. So shoutouts to them every time when I'm here because they've done so much for this game. But yeah, for only having to collect the multi-moon right now, and actually this part where he's just seamlessly jumping across is very scary, especially when you're on good pace. You can easily bonk there on the weird geometry and fall down.
Yeah, and if you do fall down, it's just Pepto-Bismol below you, so it's almost a death sentence for sure. And you go all the way back to that moon that you clipped into earlier, so
exactly.
Pretty significant time loss if that were to happen, which it didn't for Fur, but Hedweg's on his way there. We'll see how he does.
You can decide to play it quite a bit more safe there. What Fur did is like a strat where you jump on just a very, very tiny platform from these blue rocks, which once again, if you miss them, it might not even look like you missed them, but you can just randomly bonk there, it feels like, and fall. There's a super interesting backup that you can do where the damage boost from the goo pink
the
stuff,
Pepto.
boosts you up the slope, and you can actually save yourself with it, but not many people know that strat, and I can't blame them. It's not really seen much, but it's something you, as soon as you push for better times, you probably want to be aware of, because you can save a lot of time there. You can once again do damage control with that save.
Hedwig here going an alternate route up this. Instead of going on the weird triangular face down below, you opts to just climb right up, go straight up that mountain instead.
That is one of the specific spots I've been mentioning. You ultimately want to backflip into like two dives on top of these weird blocks, but if you just barely miss them, Mario will just basically lose his dive or bonk, and this is one of the spots where there's not really an easy save. You will actually just die there most of the time. Obviously, big punish. So I can respect it. Surely can respect it. For heading into the auto-scroller of Super Mario Odyssey, which is the Ruin fight.
Hopefully he doesn't die here. Does take some unintentional damage. He will take some intentional damage a little bit just in a moment here, but that first hit was not intended, but there's the intentional hit just to get on there a little bit earlier to prepare to take off those pins or whatever they are. But very fast hits on the dragon from Fur, as Hedwig's just moving his way through Luncheon Kingdom still, just collecting moons, really just consistently moving along, not making any big mistakes.
Fur actually abusing a also pretty underused mechanic these days though, which is double throws and triple throws. If you throw Cappy as he did right there the third time, it actually moves quite a bit faster at the start, so he uses that to unplug the pins a little quicker. And I feel like this is a mechanic that we might see more of. And oh, I hope Hedwig can save that on his forks there.
Hedwig saved twice by the forks, and he does get the last one. Okay. So scary. Hedwig
Super
saved
scary,
by the forks twice.
The big issue with Luncheon is there's pretty much only one choice you can make in terms of subrooms currently in the route we do, and you can either choose this room or you can choose the potable room, which is a bit slower. It used to be in the route before, but both of them are actually very scary, easy to die in, and easy to take damage, and super hard rooms, actually both of them in my opinion.
Hedwig missing that little minor optimization up top, but oh, the Potable actually hits the peg, so he's gonna have to jump all the way back down to collect enough. Hopefully he makes it. Seems like he's gonna be okay. Nice, and Fur is finished off that rune fight there, but very scary moment for Hedwig. But
when you want to improve your Luncheon, this jump is the easiest way to start. It is very weird. You can actually jump up this section if you move the potable up a very hardly visible slope. You can get a higher jump off of that. But if you don't do that, you want to default to what Hedwig did there. But it's really hard to see those little stone pebbles. And if you hit them, we saw it right there, you'll take a huge hit. So this potable jump is what it's referred to. One of the easiest strats to save massive time with potentially. And he's going to take the intended route here. Not going to be able to skip the cheese.
Destroying the cheese, because actually was Turnip Clip patched out in the more recent versions? I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
it is patched out?
It is patched out in 1.2. It's possible in 1.1, but 1.2 it's patched out.
Alright, so Hedwig forced to take the intended route there. And Fur is now a full kingdom ahead. Hedwig still got ruined in front of him, and Fur is on Bowser's kingdom. We'll see him do this, and there is still a potential for Fur to lose some time. There's a few places in Bowser's kingdom where it's really easy to die on. Plus, there is the Mecha Brutal fight, which I believe he may be going for the strat that I actually came up with, which you kill the Brutals in the rematch in a certain order that makes it really difficult. So
I'm pretty sure he is going to be doing. I'm pretty sure he is going to be doing that. Smollett actually posted the video quite a while ago, and it wasn't really touched for a long time, but recently really actually like every top runner has started to edit, because we realized if we are more optimal at it, we can probably save more than 2 seconds. There's some small strats that got added, one of them being an actual spin pound on the third bubble, and another one being we actually just named it the target acquired, because what you do right there is instead of going to the platform to snipe Spirit, you just literally aim on top of Spirit and do a super quick spin pound to kill him. Very hard though. There's a setup for it. Don't know what Fur's gonna be doing. I do want to promote one thing that he might do for the next chart though. Not the next one, but the one after. Once again, he is on Joy-Cons, so he might be able to do this strat right there, which looks insane.
That is so cool with Joy-Cons. You don't see that very often, because really, I think for maybe the only top runner that has Joy-Cons, so he's the only runner you'll probably see doing that, other than maybe, I think Goryuya may be on Joy-Cons as well.
Goryuya is on Joy-Cons, but you can't really see his runs often because he only really submits PBs and he doesn't stream. But he's a Japanese top runner. And he actually came up with that strat, so that's Goryuya's strat, the down throw there. Yeah, Goryuya pretty much also a huge inventor when it comes to strats. Like also those down throws on the chain chomp strat that Goryuya used to do. And first going to be doing the so-called Shaden Dram. Very optimal execution there. You throw Cappy back towards that pylon, get the moon, and zip back. Popularized by Shaden.
Saves.
First Bowser's is amazing.
Yeah. Very good, wow. Yeah, I'm wondering if he's getting any golds on this, because like some of these kingdoms are so clean.
Oh, shoutouts to Fur here. This strat is called the Furriot strat, and he's literally the only person that does it on all phases. You will see that on no other runner at all, but he somehow figured out the way to use the first person mode here to get a setup where he throws Cappy in advance, and Harriet is just gonna basically attack herself. You won't see that on any other top runner. Some people do it on the first phase, but no other than Fur does it on all phases.
It's very, very cool when it's done right, and Fur gets it. It's really a hard strat. That's why no one does it. But Fur, all 3 phases, gets it nice and clean.
Being crazy optimal so far on this Bowser's. No mistake is made yet. Hedwig definitely needs to be careful. One unintentional hit taken there. The big issue with fighting the Ruined boss is not actually taking damage from the sparks, but the little enemies that spawn. Sometimes if you're on 1 HP, they can just randomly spawn below you and attack you.
Yeah, if you're at 1 HP on top of the dragon, it's very stressful.
Yep.
Fur finishing up the bunnies now. Only got 1 more moon to collect, and then it's the big climb up to the Mecha Brutal fight, where hopefully everything will go well, but he does have the potential to fall off the mech and lose a good amount of time depending on how he recovers, if that were to happen.
There is some optimal backups that you can do, but once again, and I cannot blame them, a lot of top runners that really focus on any percent PBs don't actually know that many backups, because usually if they make the mistake, run might not live anymore. Especially on longer categories, people start to look into backups because they might be very useful for them. But there's a super cool backup that you can do in the mech fight where you up throw your cap as soon as a bird gets spawned. So you can just grab it out of the air and poke into the main part of the mech immediately. Not sure. I mean, I hope Fur doesn't even fall in the first place, but not sure if we would see it if he did fall.
Well, Fur just missing one of the pecks there, unfortunately. Not a big deal though. Not a huge time loss at all.
Totally fine.
Second or so. Yep. Yeah, it's incredible. This run, the whole thing, if it weren't for that wooded, Fur would be on incredible pace.
Super solid run by Fur. And I do want to say still that I believe Hedwig still has probably PB potential. I don't know his exact PB, but I'm pretty sure.
8 seconds, or maybe 10, 20 seconds behind PB pace right now, because I believe his rune split is 54-54. So.
And usually people with this time have a lot of time save in Bowser's. I don't know how much he practiced Bowser's, but it's like the hardest kingdom in this time, I'd say, like in this skill level. But definitely scary. So we might see Fur go for Harriet 3rd.
Based on his positioning, I think he will be going for Harriet 3rd here, yeah?
Yep. pretty sure. Doing the spin pound too. Very
Yeah.
fast hit. It's
Awesome.
going to be lining up to take this hit. Let's see if he does get it. And
No, he falls off the mech. Oh no. We'll see if he recovers here, or how he recovers. Got to wait for the mech to walk around, but that's what we were talking about. That's that time that had the potential of happening, unfortunately, and it does. So we'll see if he recovers. Looks like he might be just waiting for a bird to spawn, taking the safest way back up.
trying the up throw, unfortunately
Yeah.
not getting the poke fast enough. Has to
What?
search for Spirit there. I told you guys we are gonna see him again, but that's the last frame we'll see him in. Unfortunately, not getting the full Harriet third strat, but definitely, obviously, respect for him to attempt it. It's very scary, and it's super cool if you actually get it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely still good. He definitely wasn't on PB pace. Like, that didn't kill his PB because he did take a very big hit in Wooded, which is obviously not nice that he fallen there, but it at least wasn't the decider for him to PB, which would have been a bit more sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. And any percent PB at his level comes down to really one mistake. If you make one big mistake like that, it's done. So.
If you watched him on a run and he fell on that part of Wooded, you would have immediately heard the menu sound. There's no way that actually anyone on this level currently can keep a run going that doesn't get the new Wooded rod. It's too big. It's too big. It saves optimally 28 seconds. It's so huge. You cannot not do it, basically.
Oh, hedweg taking some damage there and picking up these shards, showing how hard they actually are. Fur made it look really easy, but these shards are by no means easy. So easy to like fall off the edge at any point and just die, miss a shard, get hit by bombs, birds.
There's so many approaches to do them, which makes him a very cool section of the game. Probably actually the most movement-intensive part of Bowser's. Bowser's is super long, but it actually consists of a lot of cutscenes. There's not much gameplay. This is probably the most intensive gameplay part. And he's actually going for a very old moon, which is called the Glory Hole Bass. Definitely cool throwback. Looks like, wow, okay, this is a moon. Why does no one get it? You know, it's so close to us. It looks super fast. But the cutscene of the block breaking, the bird poking, and the moon spawning actually makes it quite a lot slower than it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Fur on the final kingdom now. Bowser's Kingdom wasn't the last one. Going doing some nice vectoring all the way across. We'll see. I think proper vectoring all the way down and getting the rolls. Be using the optimal roll here to jump up on there. Nice. And just a lot of vectoring here up until you see the Moon Cave skip. Hedweg, accidentally moves back. He
I've seen.
That's definitely happened to me before. I feel that frustration that's coming from him for sure right now.
I think I've seen even Nitro do that once. It's so scary once you actually capture the pylon and the camera changes and you might just make that one wrong input and then you're on your way back and there's no way to stop it. But Fur, actually, I think Bowser Moon pretty much comes down to not messing something up and being fast on the outside. And Fur was fast on the outside section already. Now it's up for him to actually play the Bowser fight clean. And he will be probably doing a very intense strat for the first hit, which consists of a spin throw roll cancel into a spin throw, where you just take the hit with you and barely hit Bowser.
Wow. It's the first time I've seen that. That's really cool.
Saves quite a bit of time too. Hedweg, unfortunately, having some issues with the knockback of Harriet's bombs there. Once you miss them 3 times, you are pretty much guaranteed a 3-hit when she knocks down those big bombs. But obviously, optimally, want to knock the bombs back at her as soon as possible.
Fur getting the second phase of Bowser, nice and easy, and Hedweg pausing the game just for fun, and then moving over to Topper fight. I think Hedweg thought he had killed both bosses there and went to skip a cutscene or something. I'm not really sure what that was, but
that's the pause buffer, dude. That's for good luck on Topper fight.
It must have been it. He was manipulating the RNG for Topper,
exactly.
of course, the direction the hats go.
Unfortunately, taking the hit there, which is very scary because all of these heads are moving around, and if you don't actually catch where Topper is hiding under, you might take a big hit, but he recovers from it just fine, I think. Could have been worse.
Mm-hmm. Oh. For giving Bowser an extra punch every single jump. Just to teach him who's boss.
Just punishing him for stealing the princess. But we do need him right now because first heading into the escape section. Looking at his timer right now, he might just barely be on a super high 1-2 pace. It's super unlikely. Like if he played theoretically best right now, he could still snack in a super high 102, but it's looking to be a low 103.
Which is just... And that's an insane time for a race. 102, 103 is crazy.
Especially if you think about what happened to him. He must have lost probably like 40 seconds of him falling down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like 30, 40 seconds on Wooded, and then 30, 40 seconds on Bowser's, so...
Yep.
Incredible considering, like... I guess, minus, like, taking away those two mistakes, if he didn't make those two mistakes, this run could have been a world record, because a minute from his PB is world record.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is like, we're not even joking right there. If you look at the strats further, it was pretty much mind-blowing for me too. Like those small Joy-Con optimizations, those very scary hard strats like the cloud boost. In those, don't sleep on this guy. I know that people have been sleeping on little curbs, and when he got world record, people were like, wait, what? A new world record? A new person getting world record? Because people apparently didn't watch him enough. But if you watch Fur right now, definitely very up there. Not that great at aiming at the moment, though. I think he might still get the early pillar. Nice. He actually landed all of those later shots.
Excellent. And Hedweg on this mech fight, he'll probably looks like he is doing an easier strat of the mech, which really is only a few seconds slower, if anything. So not too bad here. Hopefully he doesn't fall off, and
nice.
If he doesn't fall off, I think he does have some PB potentials still.
It's going to be pretty rough. The cutscene is very long after the mech fight, but we'll see what his pace is. The big thing is actually the third hit. You can play it safe there, just wait for the mech to spin and take his 5 steps. If you do so, while Fur actually ends this one with a 103.05, pretty hot.
Excellent job on Fur.
If you wait out the steps, you'll take like a 10-second time loss, but this mech fight is looking solid. Hopefully getting the last ground pound on top, which can be hard if you don't set up the spin pound on her, because he's consistent.
Don't get blasted off. There you go. Gets that, and now it's about a little over a minute to the end of the split, so I think he's a little bit behind PB pace, but if he has a really good moon, that might actually be a PB for him.
Super solid stuff, especially also from Fur. Obviously, GG's to Fur for ending this with a 103.04. Insane time. Let's look at the leaderboards right now, because that's always interesting what that would put him in. It's obviously... Dude, that's actually really crazy. If you think that his PB right now is a 102.20, and he only lost 44 seconds to his PB, that's probably almost the time he lost in Wooded. And then he also didn't get Harried third, which lost him probably easily more than 10. But, yeah. He might have not lost that much in Wooded, but this time right now currently would still put him just 11, so definitely very solid time. And I think he's joining us for now as Hedwig still finishes Moon. Fur. GG.
GG.
Yeah, great job, man.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the time?
I played really well. I just fell off a mech, and then I had to kind of improvise and Wooded.
Exactly. I was actually curious because we were not sure what you were about to do, because you barely see that people actually fall down and save that, but they already have the additional moon. So did you come up with that on the fly, or did you already know, okay, if that happens, I'm skipping the dead end nut?
I pretty much know I'm skipping the dead end nut or the moon right after the Piranha Story moon. I don't know which is faster, but I always skip one of those two.
I mean, if you skip... the moon after the Piranha Story moon, okay, because if you skip Piranha, you obviously can't fight the boss. But, yeah, crazy job. I've seen some stuff there that I actually haven't seen before, especially when it comes to Metro. Also, attempting the cloud boost, also getting still a pretty optimal cloud movement there. but
Yeah.
very solid stuff. Must have been pretty close to PB if you take out the wooded and the Bowser mistakes. So just in terms
Yeah,
of
it
the
would
general
have
run.
been. It
Also,
would have
that
been for
snow
sure.
was that? Oh, actually, was that Cascade a gold?
No, my
It
gold's
wasn't?
like a mid 51, and I forget what that was, but it wasn't. It was like a 52, I think. There.
It looked pretty crazy doing the down throw strats, the fast capture for the boss, getting a good
Yeah.
chest clip. Actually, you missed the globe on the first spin throw of the chest clip, but other than that, it looked really solid.
Yeah,
to me.
might have actually golded if I didn't miss that. I'm not sure though.
But yeah, definitely super solid stuff. Trying to beat the hardest stage in the game currently. Shoutouts to Chaos Pringle, who definitely usually tries to beat that stage. Recently got it though. What do you think about that stage? Is it easy? Is it hard?
Oh, I haven't done this since my casual playthrough.
Oh, we might be here for a while, boys.
Hedweg doing Moonskip here, though. See if he gets it. This is a second try, I believe. But he does get it. Nice.
Definitely would recommend anyone that gets into 80% to do that one cap stall on the wall. It makes the strat so much easier, and you might see top runners to skip that cap stall to just get an insta wall kick, but that only saves 0.5, and if you fall on Moon, it's super slow because there's the high gravity going on. And that cap stall makes it so that you can pretty much aim to the spot you want to hit on the wall, so would definitely recommend that one. Yeah, Hedwig not being close enough to get the fast hits in on the first Bowser phase. Actually, wasn't fully paying attention if he went for the fast head strats in Cloud. So if he does that, he might go for them again here, which is pretty much exact same.
I believe he did go for the fast strats on Bowser and Cloud Kingdom, so he should go for those here, I'm expecting. But I think based on the time right now, I think it's going to be pretty tough to PB now for him. But still, close. Having a run that's within like a minute of your is so good. Like you have to feel good about that.
Yeah,
for sure. Before the race, he actually said that that he wasn't even close, I think, recently to match his PB, and this is looking to be at least fairly close after. And once again, I was pretty surprised on some strats that he has lost, especially. Definitely cool stuff and playing pretty optimal. So I think what it comes down from is probably this is pretty much what I would say to anyone. I mean, he already got the sub 110, which is like a huge mental barrier in my opinion when you really start to get serious about the game. But the two biggest things in my opinion are, especially Bowser's is the biggest one. Because it's so late, you don't get that much, you get super shaky, Make Fight is so hard, but you want to feel super confident about it. Also the entire kingdom. And Luncheon. Luncheon is such a big one too, especially like adding those small things like the potable jump can yield you like a 15 seconds time save. But yeah, Hedwig definitely on his way to the pillar room, which is the last room. He has to go to the 2D section though, so we will be seeing potentially a 2D skip here. Very scary stuff, especially when you actually are on PB pace. It's like you feel so good because you are pretty much done, but this one thing is still coming up. And once you get to top level runners, you obviously still need to get the fast pillar and stuff, but 2D skip can be very scary.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely happened to me before where I go for the skip and first time I've been on PB pace in a while and you just die on the skip. Hurts.
One thing that I can recommend to anyone that pretty much...
Oh no, he does. That sucks.
And even though that's super sad, that pretty much perfectly explains what I was about to say. Bowser's character model in 2D is super weird. I'm actually going to show it to you once he gets back into the 2D. But his head sticks out very far and his feet are super far back. That makes it like optical sometimes so that you can actually already jump because his head is far behind the block, but his body and his hitbox actually is not. So what I really recommend people when they do 2D skip is focus on Bowser's feet in 2D. When his feet come close to the actual edge of the block, you can safely make the jump every time, especially if you do the running technique where you hold X during the 2D skip. But you see right there, his head is way more to the right than his feet. So just focus on his feet. It will help a lot. It actually helped me to be fearless about this trick. But yeah, just playing it safe this time, going through to D and heading into the pillar room soon.
Into the final section.
And yeah, I think Fur can sing a song of this final room, because I just said that 2D skip is the last scary part. But this room of its entirety is so, like, to be optimal there, you need to shoot fireballs in such a precise way. You need to basically space the way you use claw strikes in and jumps in. I think this room on like a TARS will look so different than we know it right now, because you can probably optimally snipe pillars all the time while you go from pillar to pillar, and optimize it way more than we currently think of.
Yeah, there's definitely some ways where you can basically just constantly be shooting Bowser, and every single shot hits a pillar at some point.
Yeah. Pretty excited for this room in the task, but only 2 shots to go, I think. So clawing his way to the main block.
Finished off the run.
Still a 1:11 time, so barely 2 minutes off of his PB. Definitely solid stuff. This game is super punishing, and he actually ends up taking that 2D death, which already loses like 40. So if we just ignored that, that was still fairly close to the PB. This game is so punishing. Falling off mech, you can die in Lost, activate Klepto, and all that good stuff to actually have no resets that lose you like 5 minutes. So that's a race time you can be happy with, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So GG's to both of the runners. Let's see if Hedwig is gonna be joining us once again for some post-race thoughts. But other than that, GG's also to Fur. Wait, did you actually end up beating the 2D section?
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff. Definitely showing why Fur is one of the best. Beating the game casually. But yeah, I think we will have Hedwig coming in here right now for a post-race interview. Hedwig, GG's on the race.
Yeah,
Nice.
Fur as well.
Nice
Yeah.
showing from you. I was actually pretty impressed for some of the movements you did, especially through Lost and stuff. I said that a couple times during the race. Unfortunate, obviously, in Luncheon, and unfortunately, obviously, the end right there with the 2D skip. But other than that, it looked pretty good, especially going into Metro. There was still probably some PB potential when you were in the mid game.
Yeah. I figured like running that this was actually like going way better than I expected, not having been very active lately. But yeah, then I mean the 2D skip was basically for the lols. I just wanted to go for it like for the sake of it. I never really did that actively.
Yeah, I was talking about it. If you actually want to edit, you can probably rewatch that race anyways. I was throwing in some stuff that might potentially be interesting for you, especially when it comes to Luncheon and to D-Skip and also Bowser's. But I was still pretty impressed for some stuff that you did there. Definitely happy with the race. Smolan, is there anything you're interested about soon?
Not too much, other than good job to both of you guys. You both pretty close to PB, so like congratulations on both of you. Really good job, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy with this race. Happy to be here with GSA. So guys, make sure to follow Global Speedrun Association. Insane stuff happening here. SM64 bingo later. And yeah, definitely this tournament is just going to heat up from now on. There's going to be insane races, insane commentators. Follow these boys, by the way. Follow Hedweg, follow Fur. And follow this channel. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for joining and have a good day.
Bye-bye.